of your attention while we demonstrate the safety features of this aircraft.
Howdy gang. So here's the situation. I just landed in Boston about maybe 10 minutes ago, and I've been sitting at this cafe and have been afraid to leave the airport because I don't know anything about Boston. I'd say I knew I was going to be here about 2 weeks in advance, and I'm only going to be here for about 23 hours to get on a bus going to Burlington, Vermont, where I'm going to visit some people on the Appalachian Trail. So it's going to be a whole fun time. Thing is, I got to figure out something to do in Boston for 23 hours. I already have a situation for sleeping set up at a hostel. I think it's called High Boston, so definitely going to check that out. And I also have reserved my bus ticket to Vermont. So after I get those two things done, I want to see what's up. So with someone who's never set foot in Boston before, we're going to try to explore the city and see what it has to offer. So keep you posted. Alright, so here it is. I just mapped out some things I want to do in Boston to give myself a little bit of a template of my day so I can have some structure. And I double checked and I actually have 24 hours in Boston, so let's just cover that one up. So it is currently early in the hour of 11 a.m. The date is today, and I'm actually leaving the city at 11:30 a.m. tomorrow. So I have to, in order to leave the city, find the bus terminal. And of course it's number 2 on my list because I want somewhere to sleep tonight. So I'm gonna go visit the hostel, High Boston, try and drop off some stuff, and then explore around. And then some other things I want to do today is I want to learn 3 facts about Boston, probably get some history stuff in there, I'm sure. And then I want to finish this beast picture in this dream journal of mine. I'll give you a little more on that later. I want to write 1 postcard, and I also want to consume something that tastes good. And I don't think that's going to take a whole lot of trying around to find, because it smells wonderful just being in the airport. I'm in a new city, I love trying new foods, and my expectations are super low. So this one's probably going to be the easiest one of the day. Hey there, status report. So I just got out of the airport and I saw a Lyft driver and got in, and now we're headed to the hostel, so hoping to be there soon. So I'm really glad that the first place I went was the hostel, because that actually gave me a sort of base to launch my whole day from. In fact, right after I checked in and I was going up the stairs to check out my bunk, I heard this conversation about things going on that day, and it turned out to be one of the guys that worked at the hostel named Mike, who was super cool, and he was talking about the Isabella Gardner Museum.
It's more of an atmosphere than like a typical museum. So inside of it actually is a garden, and it's all closed up, but it's like beautiful tropical plants. And then you're walking around that and you're looking at the art and you're kind of taking it in. Now, it's a rare opportunity that it's free.
So this is Boston Common. It's the oldest public park in the country.
Whoa.
It was founded in 1636. Boston was founded in 1630. First Europeans came to this area in 1620. And it used to be a commons, you know, so people would graze their cattle here and stuff.
Yeah.
And the city used to be much smaller. So this is part of the original Boston, but like where we're going is Back Bay / Fenway area, and that's all landfill. And I would not do that.
Okay.
Because it's obviously.
Yeah. What was that you said about the subway system here?
It's just kind of like the oldest in America.
Oldest in America?
Yeah, oldest subway system in America.
So that man you just heard from was Sai. He is an engineer from India, currently living in New York City. And he was actually the only guy that came with us on the tour to the Isabella Gardner Museum from the hostel. So of course he knew a lot about the subway and was commenting actually a lot of infrastructure of the city, and I learned a lot hanging around with him. When we got to the Gardner Museum, the wait was actually a lot shorter than anticipated, and we were greeted by just some amazing art. And when we got there, there was this artist named Anjumail playing in the courtyard of the museum. So here's a little slice of that atmosphere for you. So in this museum, as you may not be surprised to find out, you're not allowed to touch anything, which is, the regular rule in most art museums. They can corrupt the artwork with the oils and everything. But these walls, I really want to touch this wallpaper. And the guard was distracted for a little while. So I think I'm just going to go for it. But I also don't want to get my group kicked out of the museum, so I'm going to ask him first. But man, oh man, do I want to touch these walls. Oh boy. I've never wanted anything more in my life. So I went ahead and asked, and it turns out that being the guard in an art museum means you're not allowed to let people touch the walls, which was a huge bummer for me. But we got to talking, and that guard's name was Joe, and he's actually an adult magician. So you can go check out his Instagram at Joe Ledoux. It's another one of these red wallpaper rooms. Just soft velvet wallpaper. I don't know if I can take it, man. Walking back from the art museum right over there. Just past this flyer for a discussion on the war on drugs. It starts at 6 p.m. So I'll catch y'all there. Mike had to go back to the hostel after the art museum, so Sai and I decided to go on a solo mission.
What exactly are you looking for here?
I think it's the Museum of, the First Christ Church of Science.
And what did he say was inside?
A giant globe.
Oh, okay.
But the thing is, it's so special and unique, you're not allowed to take pictures of it. What, do you have the time? Oh yeah, President's Day. My bad.
That's alright.
Alright.
Do you want to walk back or
I've never had falafel before.
I'm a vegetarian, so I generally would eat falafel. You can try.
What is falafel?
Falafel is like a chickpea. I'll buy one and you can try it. Thank you.
Yeah, they deep fry the chickpea patties.
I think so.
Okay. This is really good. I can't believe I've gone this long without having falafel. Okay, so here we are back at the hostel. It's a little after 5 o'clock, so I'm just going to take a moment to orient myself and get ready to go to that talk about the war on drugs. See you there. So this puppy right here is actually my dream journal, which I draw pictures from my dreams instead of writing it down, because that sort of not only helps me remember the dreams, but it helps me sort of solve that writer's block of never having anything to draw. And as I was working on that beast picture, there was this other hostel goer named Shade, and he seemed pretty interested in what I was doing, and we got to talking. And he seemed like a pretty cool guy, so we decided to go to that discussion on the war on drugs together. And we did just that. I just got out of the war on drugs discussion at Simmons University, and that was engaging, definitely. But even more than the conversation itself, just the people I met talking about it was really, really cool. I got invited to a party on a day that I won't be here. But other than that, I got some people's numbers for when I pass back through, coming back from Vermont. I was extremely late to the conversation, actually. The entire discussion started at 6, and I arrived a little bit after 7 because I left the hostel with this new friend I made. His name is Shade. And we left the hostel together. I showed him the flyer. He seemed interested. We got on the train together to go to the discussion. And I was just sort of following his direction. And we got lost. We got hella lost. We were lost for over an hour. And there was, there's 4 different universities. And because Boston, I guess, is just so crammed with different college campuses, they all overlap. So we found Simmons University at first, but we couldn't find the Leaf-of-Your Hall, I think is what it was called, where the actual discussion was held. So we just kept walking. And it's a pretty cold night. I mean, I wouldn't say it's Boston cold, but it's, Virginia cold. So we ended up getting lost, and I eventually found it, and I went into the discussion to catch the tail end of it, which I still really, really enjoyed. But I guess Shade must have gone back to the hostel because he didn't follow me into the discussion room. So I hope he's alright. Having had only one meal that day, I was getting kind of hungry with all that walking I've been doing. And I heard about this real kick-ass dumpling place in Chinatown, not too far away from the hostel, so I took a train over and tried it out. At first I was a bit worried about eating alone, but it turns out I wasn't eating alone at all. I've really been craving dumplings for a long time, actually, because I've been listening to this podcast called Writer's Room, where these writers write a script, and for the past few weeks, they've just been working on this one scene over and over again, talking about the perfect dumpling. So I honestly had no choice but to get the dumplings. And they were pretty damn righteous, although later that evening I did end up getting kind of sick from them. So the taste was great, but the contents maybe not so much. On the way back though, I ended up getting a little bit lost, and by accident I actually ended up finding the bus terminal that was getting me out of Boston the next day, so that was kind of cool. I finally ended up getting back to the hostel, where I found out that Shade was doing quite alright, and I caught up on some sleep for the next day. Good morning. It's almost 7 a.m. now. And I'm gonna go downstairs and get some of that free hostel breakfast before I head out to the bus station. That's not for a long time. So I'm gonna get a lot of work done editing the video, and hopefully finishing the sketch too before my 24 hours is up. I helped myself to a continental breakfast, including 1/2 bagel that had an insubordinate amount of butter on it. And after that, I said my last goodbyes to the city of Boston, and finished my sketch in the nick of time, right as I boarded my bus. I didn't end up finishing everything on my list, but I had a really good time. So much so that I'd say I wouldn't really change anything, except maybe next time do steamed dumplings instead of fried.